history and geography, we happen to be alive at a time when the fate of the planet itself hangs in the balance and big decisions are required. After 150 years of extracting fossils from the bedrock and lighting them on fire to run our economies, we have so loaded up the atmosphere with heat-trapping gases that the stability of our climate and the planetary ecosystem with its pollinators and water cycles and weather patterns and agriculture are all in peril, to the point where the World Health Organization has now declared fossil fuel-induced climate change as the #1 health threat to our children, not future generations, our kids, the ones that sit across the dinner table from us every night. My 14-year-old daughter, whose name is Faith, who is learning both Spanish and French and runs a mean 5K. Her life is in danger. My son, whose name is Elijah, who loves to swim and plant vegetables, and his 12-year-old birthday is today, his life is in danger. My kids and your kids, their lives are in jeopardy because we haven't figured out a way to commute to work or wash our clothes or make our tea kettles whistle without lighting fossils on fire. It's a tragedy and it's pathetic. Moreover, 2 to 4 million people in the world, according to the World Health Organization, die each year, 2 to 4 million people, because they're breathing in the toxic combustion byproducts of oil and coal and gas combustion. And in New York State, we kill 4,000 people a year because of oil and gas and coal. That's more than 10 funerals a day. So why does that make us lucky? Because we get to be the superheroes to rush in and solve the problem. That's our destiny. Us. There's no one else but us, because there's no time left to delay. All the other adults and all the other generations who came before us couldn't deal with us. Now there's no time left. Here's the cliff of disaster. So it's up to us. We have to solve the problem by transitioning off of fossil fuels, or else our children and our grandchildren will suffer and sicken and die. It's that simple. It's a David and Goliath simple struggle. And we're lucky because we get to be David. How lucky is that? We know that we are up against the world's biggest Philistine, the fossil fuel industry. But the original David, as you might recall, had a plan. His plan required and relied on simple, elegant technology. And it turned out to be more powerful than the brute force and intimidation of the giant that he faced. And it was also a carbon-neutral technology, the slingshot. We too have a plan. Our plan is called the 2030 Plan. And it's the result of scientific geniuses, Professors Jacobson from California and our own Ithaca, Bob Howarth, and Tonya Ingraffia. It's a plan that has the buy-in from some genius economists, including New York's own Jeanette Barth. And it's a plan that shows us how we can move our state, our beloved New York State, entirely to renewable energy by the year 2050 and get us 85% of the way there by the year 2030. And that's the plan. And we have a slingshot. We have wind, water, solar, and energy efficiency. We have something called feed-in tariffs, which would allow farmers to actually generate renewable energy and sell energy to the grid and self-supplement farm income. We have a way of providing long-term, safe, sustainable jobs. We know how to capitalize this. We know how to create a jobs creation program. It's not just a pie-in-the-sky idea. It's a realistic plan, and we get to be the ones to operationalize it, or in the efficient emissions. Now, aren't you starting to feel luckier and luckier every minute? Now, in my childhood, when I was born in 1959, was lived out in the coal mines of downstate Illinois. I was only 10 years old when the 60s ended, and by the time that I could vote, it was the age of Ronald Reagan and disco. That's what replaced civil rights in Motown. I thought I had missed out on my chance to participate in making history, but we have a new destiny. We have our own Greensboro lunch counter, and it's the shale under our feet, and it's the power plant over in Lansing that we are going to close down. Now, I am not a musician, and I'm not an artist who can make beautiful graphic designs like that map over there. I am a scientist and a writer, and I believe in the power of words to change history. Since we've heard a lot today already about science and music, I want to introduce some writing and some sentences into our venue today. So in the next 5 minutes with you, I intend to turn this music concert into a giant writer's workshop, which is the cue for my colleagues over here to distribute among you a piece of paper and a pen and a stamped envelope. So I want each of you to take all three of these, a pen, an envelope, and a piece of paper, and we're going to write some stuff together. This is our first act as the Davids of renewable energy, is to speak out against repowering the antiquated coal-burning power plant in Lansing. So as you're getting your writing materials together, let me just tell you a little bit about that power plant. It sits on the other side, our side right here of Cayuga Lake. It's an oven that was built in 1955 to burn coal. It's killing our children with smog and mercury emissions. NYSEG itself is in favor of closing it down, pointing out that it could make up for the electricity that that plant generates by investing in the efficiency of the transmission lines itself. We wouldn't have to burn any more carbon to get the electricity that we need if we upgrade our transmission lines. However, the company wants to repower this plant not with coal, but with fracked gas, swapping out one climate-destroying fossil fuel for another, and keeping us running on the hamster wheel of environmental destruction and exploitation. Repowering the Cayuga Power Plant with natural gas would require 18 miles of pipeline to be built between Freeville and Lansing across farmland. That land would be seized by eminent domain and would violate the Turo-Wampum Native Treaty. Boom. And it would cost us, the ratepayers, $370 million, whereas investing in the transmission lines and upgrading them to make them more efficient would require tenfold less than that, only $30 million. So the question that we want to address in this letter I'm asking you to write: do we want to pay $370 million to bring fracked gas to our community? No! So what we're asking then is to retire, not repower this plant. And the letter we're sending, I'd ask you to send a lot of letters to Governor Cuomo, but this one is going to a state organization called the Public Service Commission, whose job it is to decide whether or not to repower with fracked gas or to solve the problem by upgrading transmission lines. The public comment period for the Public Service Commission to hear from us ends on August 16th. So in 5 minutes, we could have at least 100 letters. I went to the post office today. I bought the stamps with my own money. My 12-year-old and my 14-year-old stuck them on the envelopes. All you need to do is write a short letter explaining why you do not want the Cayuga Power Plant to be repowered with fracked gas. Address the outside. I'll give you the address for where it has to go. Turn them in, and my children will personally put them in the mailbox. And there we are. And okay, that's the plan. So now we are a giant workshop of writers. For those who say the Cayuga Power Plant has nothing to do with fracking, I say nonsense. That would be like saying in the 19th century that slavery. There is no natural gas except that extracted by fracking. That's where we're at now. We have gone through all the easy-to-get natural gas. The only way to get the rest of it out of the ground is to blow the bedrock up under our feet. That's what we've been successfully saying no to here in the Finger Lakes and in New York State for 5 years. If we allow this power plant to burn fracked gas in our community, we bring all the infrastructure of fracking right to the door. We are the new abolitionists. We are the David. And this is what we're going to say in our letter. So everyone got their piece of paper. You can write on the back of the neighbor next to you. You can write on the floor if you have it. Here's the address that I want you to put on the envelope. And I'll say this a couple of times. This goes to the Honorable Jeffrey, spelled with a J, Cohen, C-O-H-E-N, Jeffrey Cohen. Mr. Cohen is the acting secretary of the commission. So you write on the envelope, honorary Jeffrey Cohen, new line, acting secretary of the commission. The name of the agency is the New York State Public Service Commission. The New York State Public Service Commission. And that's in the Empire State Plaza, Agency Building 3, Albany, New York, 12223-1350. Say it again. Honorary Jeffrey Cohen, Acting Secretary of the Commission, New York State Public Service Commission, Empire State Plaza, Agency Building 3, Albany, New York, 12223-1350. You start your letter with Dear Honorable Jeffrey Cohen, and then you let him know how you will be affected by his decision. You could write as a ratepayer and say that you do not wish to subsidize the fossil fuel industry with a $380 investment, which will create no incentive to close down this plant and to adopt the 3050 plan. Are you an eater of food? If so, you can talk about the farmland that will be destroyed to build a pipeline to bring the fracked gas to Lansing. And you could talk about the just transition for Lansing. That school district is entirely dependent on an antiquated dinosaur shoveling coal into an oven in order to keep the reading and the arts programs and the drama program going at the Lansing Public School. How crazy is that? Here you have a plant that's killing children, and the only way to educate children is to keep the thing going. Surely we can come up with a better way of giving money to our schools. So any of those points, just one of those points is enough in your letter. Okay, so get busy. I'm going to give you 3 more minutes.